Hey, good day, sunshines. It is Thursday. You know what Thursday means. Thursday means it's the weekend's weekend.
There you go.
We all know that tomorrow is Friday.
Friday Eve. It's Friday Eve.
That's right.
It's Friday.
Right.
It is
Yeah.
Friday Eve. It becomes a holiday. I like that. See, we've got to throw a whole bunch of stuff in there. I will tell you, why is it a holiday? Well, guess what? April is a holiday for us, and it's a birthday holiday. It is 1 year. Vinyl Draft Radio has been on the air, coming to you Facebook Live and audio on SoundCloud and now on TuneIn and Google and Alexa. We want you to play us any way you can. And I just want to say happy birthday to the radio station, all the other fine hosts and the experts that are on the air. And speaking of experts, we are very fortunate once again. It always feels like such a long time since I've seen you, but really it's not.
It does seem like a long time.
We have Lauri Coppock. She is the Clear Lake branch manager for PrimeLending.
Woohoo.
Welcome back, Miss Lauri.
Thank you. It's been 5 weeks because didn't we have a long month?
Yes, we did have
it has
a
been
5-week month. So and we're kind of on that way.
And by the way, happy birthday.
Oh, yeah,
you as well.
Oh, that's right. It was my birthday.
It's John's
yesterday.
personal birthday
I'm
as
all
well.
about promoting
Today?
the radio.
It was yesterday.
It was yesterday. It would have been too weird to have my radio
Same day.
I'm not a big celebrator of birthdays. Now you hear another voice in the station, and the reason you hear another voice, I want to introduce Mr. Rolando Villarreal.
That's it. You nailed it.
I nailed it. My non-Spanish speaking
Yes,
self.
I was wondering
Though
how he was going to
I
do
do
that.
get quite good at Spanglish, but I have to be in a flow of those things. I worked in the restaurant business for 20 years, so Spanglish came in easy
So he can
with
say
me.
enchilada.
You just say it fast so they don't.
Yeah, so they don't
That'll
catch
catch
on.
it.
That's
There
the
you
thing.
go.
Well, I always felt it was good mixing my completely whitewashed, language with different accents. So when my family, and I may have mentioned this before, my kids, my wife, they make fun of me whenever we go out to eat somewhere or somewhere where there's a different culture and people are talking to you, and I always end up picking up the inflections. And maybe that's because I grew up in places like Miami and I'm from New York City and I've lived in San Francisco, and Florida turns into Florida, and then all of a sudden you're talking to someone that has a Cuban accent.
Then they think you're
That's
just
me.
making fun of them.
Right.
All right. So Rolando, let's get back to Rolando. Yeah, I could have went on another rant. I'm trying to be rant-free as much as possible today. So Rolando is a guest of Lauri's today and a first-time guest on the show. And Rolando, I have the name of your company is Hilltop, but I know you work with a partnership within that. So so tell us about yourself first.
So, Hilltop Holdings is the holding company that
Owns
PrimeLending
us,
belongs to, and Hilltop Securities does as well.
And I meant to ask you that because I noticed the
buffalo?
The buffalo is still there. I was like,
That's why he's
That's
here.
Mo. That's Mo the buffalo.
that's Mo.
He's my sister company. He's my
Yes.
brother from another sister.
That has no flow whatsoever. So don't say that again.
So a part of Hilltop Securities, we have a team of called Burroughs, Ottenberry, and Agall Investment Group in South Shore Harbor. They've been together for 18 years. They come from Wells Fargo, and they've been with Hilltop Securities. This is their 5th year. They just celebrated their birthday in March.
Ooh.
So
All right.
I'm in my 2nd year with the team. I handle the business development. I get to be community involved, and that's why I get the pleasure of being here today.
Yes,
Thank
that's
you,
right.
Lauri.
You're welcome.
And we're gonna we talked briefly when you came this morning before the show, and I could see plenty of potential to go into different areas, but one of the areas I definitely want to hit off is kind of your community involvement, because I know it's going to be a big part of what you do, and I really believe that being part of the community is an important thing in your profession. If you're just sitting behind closed doors, and I'm not saying you have to do that to be out and promote yourself and whatnot, it's really kind of is rewarding as a business owner or being part of a business to be involved in the community and meeting people that you can not only work with, but you really can make an impact, and you can just do it and feel good about yourself and your business and what they stand for. So it's very good to meet people that are in that business of people as well as the business of business.
Right.
And your business is financial management.
That's correct.
All right. Well, tell me a little bit about financial management and what that really entails for us, not in detail, but just, a summary, because we have plenty of show to get details.
So I'm in my 8th year in the financial industry. I come from a background In credit unions, actually. My first 6 years, I worked in a credit union. I worked in a commercial bank. And then I had the opportunity to interview with, our office has 5 team members. Myself, we have 3 advisors, Don, Clint, and Mike. They've been together for 18 years. 2 of the advisors actually grew up in school with each other down in Galveston, elementary, junior high, high school.
Gotcha.
And then Clint has been with them for 18 years as well. I'm from Galveston as well, so 3 of us are BOIs.
Look at you.
We're located.
Yeah.
Bragging. BOI.
It's pretty cool.
That is cool.
By the way, we are an international show, so if you don't know what BOI is,
True.
I'm going to tell you now. BOI is not as bad as you think. It means born on island.
That's right,
All
Galveston. And we're located in League City, so we like to serve our community. We have a big presence in the medical industry, just because if you look around, there's a different hospital popping up every day around our area. And we like to support the school district, CCISD, Galveston ISD. Our financial advice is everything from helping you buy a car to if we need to help you with long-term care, if we need to help you with making sure you have enough saved to retire one day. And maybe that means you're putting away too much right now. You know, some people don't even think about that. They think I need to save.
And not enjoy the fruits.
not
of
enjoy
it.
it.
At least enjoy a little. Take a little taste. Wet your beak.
Right.
Gotcha. So you're. This is interesting because you're saying don't put it all with me. You're saying enjoy it a little bit, but let me help you grow some of it too.
Just have a plan.
Yeah.
Have a plan.
I like it. Have a plan. That's your motto.
That's it. Because I like to use the analogy of shooting an arrow in the sky. If you're not aiming for anything, you know, if we can't decide what you want your retirement to look like, if you want to leave anything to your kids, maybe you have a charity that you love and you're passionate about, and when you pass away one day, you want to leave it to that charity. Well, let's make sure we have everything aligned so you don't have to be worried about where my money's going to go when I pass away.
You know, I don't know if I can work with you, and here's why. I have pretty much, and again, nothing against you personally, but I have pretty much decided, and my kids, we're not leaving you anything. We're going to try to enjoy
John's
what
going.
we can.
He's going on a trip around the world.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we're sitting on in a mass of funds or anything, but quite honestly, you know, we've given you a lot. But now, I mean, if we save for anything, it's going to be our ultimately our deaths. You know what I mean? We're
Right.
you know, not trying to be morbid, but let's face it. You know, I'm 40.
Really?
I think I'm turned 49 now,
Really?
so I'm about
You're going
20
there,
years
right?
away from the grave.
Wow.
How much time am I really going to save up right now?
Well, that's the beautiful thing. You know, financial advice isn't a one size fits all thing. You know, what you want may not be what Lauri wants, and that's okay. You know, it's
Right.
There's no cookie cutter plan for that.
You like it. So you can do, you know, short-term stuff too.
Oh, yeah.
Short-term plans.
Oh yeah.
And I
Short-term.
can, I mean, you know, when I was 20 and I said 20 years, I wouldn't have thought of short-term, but now that you're getting close to 50, you go, 20 years really is like
I'm going to
tomorrow.
have to just smack you. I have no break.
Well, that's why you're across the table at this point, so you can't reach
He's doing
me.
this on purpose, too.
Yeah. So I find what you do very fascinating, and like I've mentioned earlier, I know quite a few people I've met over the years in your business, and it really is about a different approach. There's corporate approaches, there's community approaches, there is individual approaches. Do you find with you working with the partners and the other 4 people you work with? I know you said you work as a team. You find you're bringing a different, like each one of those kind of bring a different thing to the table?
Oh, definitely. You know, we have, if Clint's listening, he's the smartest guy in the room. And
I agree. He's very smart.
Is he also your boss?
kind of.
Okay, yeah. I'm just figuring out,
Yes.
not taken away from the smartness there, Clint.
But, you know, he brings a lot to the table with that skill set. Don, one of our advisors, is just like me, can talk. Never met a
Extremely
stranger.
personable, yes.
And then Mike, he's real good. He's real soft spoken. He's real good with women, and I don't mean that to sound bad.
Wow, Mike.
Hey now.
Okay.
So,
No, but
that,
you know,
Mike.
I think
Mike's a player. Got that one.
Oh, wow.
I think financial money may be a little intimidating, maybe to a newly divorced female. You know, sometimes you feel like you're getting taken advantage of.
True.
But if you can be comforted and you can feel like their interest is what, you know, their best interest is what we have in mind when we do everything for you, well, that's a good skill set to be able to calm someone down when when you
They
talk
are
to
all
them.
three so different, which is a good thing with this team.
That's what makes a team, I think, is that, because
They
if you have
each
everybody
offer
doing the
something.
same thing,
Right.
it's you believe in a philosophy of things, but the way you approach it should be different. And that makes a well-balanced team. And I really do appreciate how you brought up that, having your customers' best interests at heart. I do real estate that way.
Right.
I truly make my clients or customers' interests my own, because that's the only way to move forward. And it is rewarding regardless of any amounts involved. It's the rewarding factor
Right.
that you get. If you look at it, how much did I make today? You'll never truly enjoy what you're doing, and you truly won't be gaining or creating a relationship
Exactly.
either. So I can
Right,
understand that. However, I do want to say, because we've got about, we've got plenty to talk about, but I do want to say, Mike, you might want to talk to this gentleman here about how he's presenting you, because really that's basically what he did. That's going to stand out from the first segment, by the way, just so you know.
Wow,
That's perfect.
great.
No problem. It's all about diversity.
That's it.
In the mentality of things. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about community, because that is one of the most important things. So again, being born in the area, raised in the area, spending a little time in the area. I think you're kind of doing yourself a disservice if you're not being part of that community. I mean, really, you want to bring that on. So we're going to talk about that. We'll also talk a little bit between Lauri and Rolando about how this ties into
Lending.
saving up for
Yeah.
things,
Right.
and being able to buy a house, or investing in your future or your kids' future, as some people would do.
But not
Which
John's
I'm
kids.
not saying, but not Mike, because they are under no illusion.
I'm hoping they're not listening.
You know what? Even if they are, well, I know they're probably not even awake, either one of them, at this point, for whatever reason. They take after me in that fact. But I know they're under no illusion that they're getting anything from us.
So they need to work hard now, kids.
Well, not just that. It's just we've given them other things to kind of help them in their life.
There
And,
you go.
they just know that there's no house coming your way.
Well,
or,
at least they know. At least you're
never
making
know.
it
Oh, yeah.
clear.
No,
Yeah,
they are
exactly.
completely under that. All right, folks. Talk to you shortly. Welcome back. Who knows what that's from?
Welcome back, Cotter.
Very good. You
I'm
probably had
old.
no
I
idea.
was
Again, as we
thinking the
established
Nas
last
rap
segment.
song.
The what?
Nas rap song, Welcome Back. Mace.
Oh, my
Oh,
God.
wow. I am old.
Not even close. Welcome back, Cotter. You know
Yeah.
what? I wish
I used to
spent.
love that show.
Me too. And actually, they still play that along with Sanford and Son, All in the Family. I almost started another rant here.
Yeah, don't start him.
You want to watch
was
good? Yeah, I start my own rants now. You want to watch kind of really groundbreaking TV nowadays? Look for those channels that on your network provider or cable provider that show you things like All in the Family or Sanford and Sons. Those guys were truly culturally ahead of their time with things
yeah.
like about racism and stuff, and so much so that we have become so sensitive today in our media and stuff that if
Right.
you look at those shows,
You
they were
can't figure out why
groundbreaking to
they-
break that
Yeah,
sensitivity.
but you can't figure out how they lasted, because nowadays they
Yeah,
whip
no,
'em
those
right off
same
the air.
shows, and you would think it doesn't go that way, but it actually does. I digress.
You don't sound old at all, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm just totally
Adam.
dating myself. I'm trying to get
And I'm
everybody
even
on board.
older, so I appreciate all that.
You keep making fun of my age, and
Yeah,
therefore it makes
it worse
you
for
get
me.
there a lot more. So we are back, and we're back with Lauri Coppock, the Lauri Coppock.
That's right.
And our featured guest today, Rolando Villarreal.
There you
Woo,
go.
Got it.
Or if I was going Spanish, it'd be Villarreal.
You could use that one the rest of the show.
No, I can't, because
Yes.
I almost that
almost
was a
messed it
tongue
up.
tie. And he's with Hilltop Securities, and he's part of a group there, a very apparently eclectic and playful group of people that really not playful with your money though, because they take your best interests.
That's right.
And make them their own. So. We kind of talked about community early on, and I want to kind of get into that a little bit. So some of these community things that you've done, and you've started telling me about one, I said, no, hold off, I got to hear about this. But let's talk a little bit about community involvement. What does that mean for you? What does that mean for Rolando?
So, like I said earlier, I was born down in Galveston. I grew up in League City. Went through CCISD. I ended up graduating from Bay Area Christian there in League City. Went away to College Station for a few years, came back. And the city's changed so much in the last, even 10 years.
Oh, no doubt. I've been here about 10 years,
Yeah.
and I will tell you it has changed.
So, not to harp on the age thing, but I graduated high school 10 years ago. So,
Oh my God.
just to see the city grow. My parents live in Leak City. I'm getting married on April 28th. So
Oh, yeah,
what is
that's
that?
right.
24 days.
Congratulations.
We have a house in Leak City, so I'm excited to start my family in Leak City. What that means to give back to my community, I can't help but think about Hurricane Harvey. I had the privilege to serve at Hometown Heroes Park when it became a shelter. Like I said, me and my fiance have a house in Leak City. My parents have a house in Leak City. And going through all that, watching the news, you kind of had to turn it off after a while. And then you'd start to hear the helicopters. And you'd think, man, you knew what it was. And I thought, the first chance I get, I need to go help, because you almost felt guilty that your house wasn't affected.
Right.
Oh, I
Had the same.
I got that.
Same issue. Yep.
And then you kind of realize that you have to do something. So it was really neat. Me and the guys, the four of us, the subdivision off of 518 in Leak City, I think 99% of the houses, there's a park at Clear Creek, I think is what it's called. 99% of the houses, I mean, it looked like a war zone. So the least we could do was roll up our sleeves and go help tear down some sheetrock. It wasn't pretty and it wasn't fun and nobody wanted to do it. But at the end of the day, it felt good to lend a hand. And, this was all around, not just Leak City. But being able to do that, being able to give back to the schools. Our office adopted through Bay Area Communities in School, we adopted Clear Path, the alternative school for CCISD. Something as small as taking them some sweatshirts. It was a cold year, and I'm guilty of complaining.
It actually
I
got
needed
cold
a
now.
winter.
So,
I
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I was guilty of complaining that I needed a winter, and then I was like, I'm tired of this cold weather. Just being able to provide, being able to give back. There's so much good in this city, and being able to make that good known is what I like to see.
Right.
There's enough bad going on around this world.
You
This
can always
town.
find bad.
Right.
Why
But-
not be different and be good?
I like it.
I have the privilege of sitting on the board with the Leak City Regional Chamber of Commerce, and I've had the privilege of kind of leading the young professionals group.
Nice.
And we try to network because that's important. We try to have workshops because education's important. But one factor we try to do is we try to give back to our community. We try to have at least one, if it's going to clean up a park, if it's going to help spend some time with the kids over at Devereaux, if it's, doing a drive to Anchor Point, some of these, we have so many charities, nonprofits in our area that every little bit helps. So,
and there's only so much you can do. I mean, but again, it comes down to, like you said, you're not doing it for publicity. You're not. I mean, that may be a byproduct. Business may be a byproduct of this. But I wasn't getting the feeling, talking to you earlier or now, that this is something that you're doing for that. Yeah. This is something that you kind of just feel like, I'm from here. I call this home. And again, it doesn't matter if you were born somewhere or something. When you get to a place, it's who you are as a person that generally does that.
Right.
So, well, kudos to you on that for sure.
Thank you.
Well, I want to now kind of segue into some things. Not to leave Lauri out.
You're fine. I brought him on for this purpose.
Yeah, Lauri is also heavily involved in the community in a lot of ways. Even though she is running a very busy and successful office, I know she does a lot of things out there in the terms of being part of the community, and I think PrimeLending in generally does.
We do, and that's Hilltop, and that's Hilltop's view. I was actually reading up on them as far as their culture. Obviously, they mirror each other, which is great, but PrimeLending does do a ton. We did, the one warm coat. I don't know if you were involved in that a couple of years ago. I had coats all over my office, everywhere. But it's a great charity. So they do things like that. We built homes, obviously, since we're home for Habitat for Humanity, stuff like that. But I'm actually heavily involved in the Clear Lake Chamber of Commerce, which I'm trying to pull them. I know they're in the Leak City Chamber of Commerce. That's kind of a funny kind of story. That's how I met all of them, was through I didn't even know they were here. So
let me ask you real quick.
That was the weird thing. This was a couple of years ago, and that's how I met Clint. Was I went to Leak City Chamber meeting, or I went to the luncheon, And there I saw Hilltop Securities Platinum member, the board,
Yep.
they have up.
Yep.
And I saw our Buffalo, and I'm like, I'm looking around going, where are these guys? I didn't even know they were, in this area. This was a few years ago.
What?
And so that's why after the meeting, I was like, I found Clint. And so that's how we ended up getting together. And of course, on
And
the
Mike
League City
didn't
Chamber,
find you, right? You
no,
are a
Mike
woman,
did not.
so
No,
I just
no,
was wondering if
no,
Mike
I found
found-
them.
no? Okay.
No, but that's how I became. I kind of rode their coattails with the League City Chamber for a little while because they were platinum members. Sat at their table, and so
Look at you just trying to hobnob
I
with
did.
everybody.
I did. I was like,
That's what
wow,
it's all
they're
about.
platinum members.
That's what it's all
Yeah.
about.
So, but they were so awesome. I mean, they were so excited to have PrimeLending there with them, and they were great. So, but then I moved on to the Clear Lake Chamber because I'm actually working Clear Lake, so it made more sense for me. They encompass the
Right.
8 cities, 3 counties, so I can
And
do it all.
is there any competition between like chambers? Like I'm imagining
Of
this
course there's
whole West Side
competition.
Story thing going on between different
No,
chambers
it's
of commerce.
and this is why I like the Clear Lake Chambers because they do encompass like all the cities. So it's awesome that we can all get together, and they do joint events quite
there's
often.
There's
yeah.
a mixer going on, I think, next
Yeah,
month.
yeah, it's
or
great.
this month.
It
It's
just
April.
brings in more communities that you can build
At the end of the
relationships
day,
with. Yeah.
We're all out to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
So it's fun. We go to each other's events and just meet new friends. And so I kind of like the fact that they're so involved in League City Chamber, and I can take on the Clear Lake Chamber. So that's
Oh, there
That's
you
cool.
go. It's
We
kind
can-
of like a partnership in that
it
way.
is. It is.
All right, so let me now kind of put you guys together here in the sense that how do you two kind of really work together in my mind as a real estate agent, and how do the three of us, our businesses, kind of coincide together in a little bit?
They do. They really do. I mean, so I get referrals. Clint will email me and send me a customer that's talking about refinancing or maybe fixing their home, and he'll say, "Hey, can you help this person?" Because he's gone over your circle of life here. He's got how they do their investments. They have this really cool technological program that they put in all of your information. They showed it to me. It's really, really amazing. He can explain more about how that works.
when I told you at the beginning of the show that we need to have a plan, we need to have an end goal. Well, that can be everything from inheritance, your retirement, your 401k, your savings account. And people go to an advisor not just for what stock should I invest
Right.
in, what bond should I invest in.
Right.
You build this relationship like you talked about. When their best interest is your best interest, then you reach out to people that you can trust. And we've never had a complaint about Lauri, so we love being able to send.
That's a good thing.
I would have been more impressed had he said, "We've only had one complaint about Laura," but no.
Thank God.
Okay.
But that when they come to us and say, "Well, I'm thinking about buying a house next year," well, what's the first person we think about?
Yeah, they send them over and I can qualify. And vice versa. So people will often have money. People have a misconception that I'm going to put down another $3,000, it doesn't make a difference. I'd rather they invest that, because when we run through the numbers and it's another $10 or $15 in your payment, then they're like, oh, they're thinking hundreds. Well, that's going to save me hundreds of dollars. No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
So we talk about that. I talk about that a lot. I try to be more of a financial advisor to them, not just your loan officer, to try and make sense of which program. We talked about that a lot, which program to put them into.
Right.
And sometimes they can take their money and invest it with them, and they're just better off not putting it all into the house. I mean, I know people want equity in the house, but sometimes it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Now, one of the things I want to get to real quick is, you had mentioned that getting people set up and on their feet, that's kind of what you do as well. It's part of their plan, what it is. But you had mentioned, and I cut you off, that early in the office, that you actually went to a car dealership to help someone get. Now, my first thought was like, well, there's Rolando bringing out his wallet, just flipping out, look, I'll take care of this. And you just give her, kind of thing. But feed me that story. Tell me what was going on.
So, growing up in consumer banking, I think a lot of people get this mind monster that I'm not good enough to have a financial advisor. And I don't know if people think they need to have 6 figures in
Right.
their bank account, but we can help anybody. We had a client that she had some independence that she had never had before. She had never purchased a vehicle before. And with my experiences being a loan officer for a couple of years, you see purchase orders, you see stuff, and you start to know the fees and you know the game. I'm not bad mouthing car dealerships at all.
There is a game.
There is a game. And it's intimidating if you've never done it before.
Right.
And I think you can feel like you're going to get taken advantage of. Unfortunately, car dealerships do have a bad name.
I get it.
We all get it. So I told her, I said, hey, what are you looking to get? And she told me. And I said, well, tell me what time you want to go, and I'll meet you at the dealership. We'll test drive it. If you like it, we'll meet with the finance department, and we'll get you taken care of. And at the end of the day, we got what she wanted, and she was happy, and she didn't have to worry about that stress. And sometimes that's more effective than this is how much you need to have saved to retire one day.
Right.
Something that small can have a big impact on somebody.
And it's an overall package then at that point. It's not just about, hey, I'm here. You're right. I mean, there's so many areas in someone's life, not just that are looking at the financial things. The financial expense of it is a big enough stress. But you were really there as a support to say, here we are, we're going to work together to get, the best for you and protect you.
Yep.
And it had nothing to do with, I'm imagining she wasn't, maybe was she even a client of yours, or
She
just,
was. Yeah,
she was a client,
yeah.
and it's problem that I'm imagining it wasn't a large account or anything. It was really a people thing for you to do.
At the end of the day, our goal is to just educate and help people's lives easier. Taking care of your finances and taking care of banking and investments is another full-time job. And I can't imagine, if it wasn't my full-time job, having to learn about how to buy a car, how to buy a house, how to read a credit report, And that's another thing we're passionate about, is educating those high school kids that are going into the real world. School is awesome, but you never learn how to balance a checkbook or buy a car or file your
They
taxes.
definitely need a class. We've talked about that too, a
Yeah.
financial class.
And being able to help these guys, even if it saves them, the struggle of learning how to spend a credit card, how to use a credit card.
Yeah, probably.
That's a big.
And paying it on time.
I agree. As parents,
That helps me
Yeah,
by him doing that for their future to buy a home.
As parents, though, we know that really it falls on our shoulders. I grew up with no guidance in that area. My parents were like, plastic, use it.
Yeah.
That's
That was kind of
I
a
said parents,
mentality
my
back then.
mom.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, it was hard. We learned the hard way how important it is. So all we can do, I know for me personally, all I could do was tell my kids, this is why it's important. You don't do what we've done. Right? And that's how we learn from experience. So yes, I agree that that's important. Yes, I agree. Maybe it should be in some kind of schools.
It definitely should be. They
And
need
that's all
life
about
lessons.
the community. Again, life lessons are important as long as they're not dangerous. All right, folks, when we come back, we're going to talk more about some financial services. Hey, welcome back. Are you jamming? I think you're jamming to this music. I am here with our special guest today, Rolando Villarreal.
Nailed it.
I'm always going to nail it, but you're, of course, being kind. Because if I was really Hispanic, it would have sounded much, much better and more authentic than that. And, of course, he was brought here today by Miss Lauri Coppock,
Hello,
the
hello.
mortgage maven and Clear Lake branch manager for PrimeLending.
Yep.
So we were talking about being part of the community, even when you're doing business. And we also talked about kind of what that means, as well as how it works together, say, if you're trying to save for a house a little bit, and how they can work together in the community. Now, Lauri's been great. She's actually, last time you were on, you brought in someone that talked
Credit
about
expert.
credit,
That's right.
which I thought was good. So this is just another way for that to happen for you. Just another way to get to the goal of buying a home. But again, the show's not just about that.
No, it encompasses everything about buying a home.
But speaking of buying a home, I do want to throw this out here to everybody.
Okay.
It's that time of year where Better Homes and Gardens, Gary Green, throws once a month open house sweepstakes, and that'll be all the way till August. And the first one is actually this weekend, so keep your eye out, and we'll also post a list of open houses in the area. For places that you can attend, especially if you're looking for a house. But if you're not, still go. Why not?
You can win.
You can win $1,000. Why wouldn't you go?
Right.
Hey, you're a finance guy. Would you not say that, hey, we should just stop by as many of these as we
Why
can?
not?
Yeah.
We
Win a
may not
grand.
be looking for a house, but we can put our name on a list for $1,000. Listen, you got to play to win, right?
Right.
But if you are looking for a house, this is a great time because potentially you can win $1,000, but you also may find the house of your dreams, and we have quite a few. You know, Better Homes and Gardens Gary Green is the largest individual broker in the area. We have 1,100 agents, all Houston.
Wow.
Based agents. We're not some, big nationwide company. Better Homes and Gardens is, but Gary Green itself is large in the area. About a third of the listings, third of the buyers, all come from
Wow.
Gary Green.
Impressive.
So, you're going to have that opportunity, so why not show up? And I
Cool.
love how you two are just going, awesome. So,
That's
enough
cool.
about me.
I didn't know that. So that's,
I didn't either.
Yeah.
But remember, folks, join that. And I'll post information up on Facebook for everybody so you can kind of see the ones that are coming out this weekend for your chance to win $1,000.
Do that and I'll share it.
I like that. I appreciate
go.
that. Will you share it?
I will.
Oh, hey, okay. We'll have to
First you
talk
have to friend
to
John.
Don, Clinton, Mike as well.
Yeah.
Do we have to see if they're going to share it as well?
They would.
Okay.
Well, Clint's not on Facebook, but the other two would.
Yeah.
Oh, Clint?
No, Mike's not on Facebook.
Oh, I
either.
thought it was
just
he's
just
not?
Don.
Oh,
That is-
just Don.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, they don't do Facebook. I know.
Yeah, that's well.
I kinda
They
don't
got
blame
someone
them.
like they've got someone like Rolando. They don't.
There you
That's
go.
my
That's my
job.
job.
Facebook.
Yeah,
that's his job.
That's what
He
he,
can share
does.
it.
That's his contribution to the team, right there. So I want to talk a little bit more about financial services. Like I said, I know a few people in this arena, and again, when they say financial services, I'm assuming you all kind of not do the same thing, but are focused on the same areas. So tell me a little bit about what financial services really are, and for you guys at Hilltop.
So we have a pretty unique model that we use. A lot of advisors are paid, let's say, on a commission base or depending on the number of assets you have. We like to model it off almost like a lawyer. Nobody has a problem paying their lawyer when they need it, or a CPA. It's tax season. It's
Right.
right around the corner. So we thought, well, let's say we have a minimum $500 fee a year. You pay us $125 a quarter. You can meet with us. To be able to find out if you have the funds to buy a house, we got to put together a budget first. And we need to see where the money's going. We hear the joke about someone that stops at Starbucks every day and pays $6 a cup of coffee. Maybe if you only do that.
Guilty.
If your goal really is to purchase a house, well, you may have to cut back on 1 or 2 cups of coffee a week. But that's really the blueprint. Is we're product agnostic, so we don't have products that we're trying to sell you. That's not it at all. Our goal is literally to help you with whatever needs you have at that point in your life. And the beautiful thing about a financial plan is it's a living, breathing specimen. It's going to continue to change over time.
Right. Okay.
Next year isn't going to look the same for me as it does this year. I'll be a married man next year, so even my taxes are going to look different.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's always going to change, and that's where the relationship comes in place. It's great to be a part of a team. Don's our old man in the office.
Please don't say that.
You're just digging a grave.
Yeah.
He had his birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, Don.
Happy birthday, Don.
But it's great to have a succession plan. We have some clients that are maybe in their 40s, and I know Don doesn't want to keep coming in the office and hanging out with us every day. He's going to retire with his wife and his ranch.
Wait a second. Wait, I got to clarify. Did you
I'm
just call your
retiring before
boss
his-
old because he's just in his 40s?
No.
Oh, thank
he's
God.
Not in his, what I'm saying, we have some clients in
Actually,
their 40s.
he's my age because him and I graduated from SFA together.
But we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, don't
So-
touch Lauri's age.
We may have some clients, I say that meaning in between myself and Don.
Right.
So, Don's going to want to retire one day, and instead of them having to start a new relationship with a new advisor, you have this team that has been there with Don the entire way. So, we know our clients just as well as the other person. So if one's out sick, if someone has a family emergency, if,
Whatever, yeah.
God forsaken, something happens to
Right.
one of us, well, the rest of the team's there to pick up and continue to move along like nothing happened. And that's that peace of mind is huge for people. We want you to be able to sleep well at night. We can't control the stock market. We can't control the economy. But all we can do is plan and be able to adjust to those life events. Life's going to happen. That's what we like to say.
Okay, you're
Life
right.
happens.
So, want to jump back real quick, and I think you mentioned it. So you guys are flat fee based?
Yes.
Okay, because I know some companies do things like, and the reason I ask this, ironically, when people talk about financial growth, they always feel, well, how much is it going to cost me?
Right.
It's not just my money I'm putting in, it's money I'm also paying you.
Right.
So some of my money that I want to put in is going away to
Right.
pay you to do
Right.
that. So you do a flat fee, and there are other companies, I'm sure, that do percentages on things like that. Why is your model unique in that? Or is it unique in that? I mean,
I think it is unique, but it takes away in a way, it takes away the sales aspect. I'm not trying to sell you my product. I'm trying to sell you my service. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to sell you this relationship. And it's not always going to work out. We have an initial meeting to get to know each other, and you may not like us, and that's okay. And it just may not be a good fit. We're not trying to tell you have to come with us, but come have a conversation. It may be beneficial for you. Some people may realize, I had no idea I could get help in that area.
Mm-hmm.
gotcha.
So just
It costs them more not to do this, honestly. I mean, think about how much you can earn doing this, but instead of putting it in I hate to pick on the credit union, but you put it in a credit union account and let it sit, you're not making anything. But these guys can make you a whole lot more than you're spending on their services. So it's really going to cost you more not to invest.
Right. So keep that in mind. And again, this is you're talking to someone here that never grew up with that kind of
That mentality.
the mentality
A lot of people
of
didn't.
saving money. And my parents weren't there for that credit, whatever that meant. It was
Right.
like use it when you got it kind of deal.
And that's why you need to talk to them so they can educate you on why this is so important.
But here I am somewhere in my stage of life. My kids are one's already out of college on his own. The other one's almost done. And,
congratulations.
I don't know. I didn't do anything. But anyway,
No, the fact that they're almost out of your house.
Yeah, exactly.
I just started last year with a retirement account for the first time.
Good.
That's great. But again, my theory is I'm very close to death now.
Oh, my
anyway.
God.
Well, you're past the halfway mark. You're kind of
killing me.
Again, my wife doesn't like the mentality either. She's like, what we still got plenty
You're
to
gonna
live
live
and
to 180.
enjoy. No, trust me. I know what I've done in my past. But my thought is that it's almost like, is it worth it now for what's left to do? Because again, you can do it for like you said, your family or whatnot. But honestly, do I want a 20-year plan to be when I really expect that I probably wouldn't be able to enjoy it in 20 years? Can I walk into you and say, I have a 10-year plan?
Yeah.
It's probably not realistic.
Yeah.
But what can I do to get close?
Well, we like to look at it as a needs, a want, and wishes. What are your needs?
Boy, we're very similar in terms of our businesses.
I mean, that's
Exactly.
You need a roof over your head. You need food.
Yeah.
There's a bucket that you need. And what does that dollar amount look like? What do you need to be able to get by every day? We got to take things into consideration like inflation. You're going to get Social Security. You got to take things like that in consideration.
We hope.
We hope.
if he lives that long.
Amen. Look at her.
I can talk about my demise, but
I
you may
can't.
not.
That's your needs. You're going to have your wants. Do you want to be able to pay for your kid's wedding one day? Thanks, Mom and Dad. Do you want to buy a boat one day? And then your wishes. I wish to travel for a month out of the year. That's what we need to identify before we say, this is your 10-year plan. Some people like to travel now, like if you would want to travel now, so you can go do the parasailing, the zip lining, the things that you may not be able to do when people say, I want to retire one day and travel. Well, I don't want to be 70 years old going
Right.
on a
I'm there
9-hour
with
airplane
you.
flight. No, but
Quite
again,
honestly, my wife doesn't want to see me in any of that garb either at that age. You know what I mean?
but and again, I go back to it's not a one size fits all thing, and that's okay. I don't want to own a boat one day. I heard the greatest day is when you sell your boat, because
I'm like every
I
other
agree.
day.
Yeah.
I'm every other
Flip-flops.
dad. Like, yeah,
We'll
you
go
know.
rent one.
Yeah,
There
well,
you
that's
go.
what we do when we go
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
All right, folks, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about some financial services offered by both Lauri and Rolando.
Go.
Hey, folks, welcome back. Final segment. Always a
Boo.
sad part. Yeah, always a sad part, but it goes by so quickly, especially when we have great guests on. And today we've been talking with the Lauri Coppock,
Howdy, howdy.
Clear Lake branch manager.
Yep.
You always say something before I finish your
I
whole
do,
title.
sorry.
So I'm just going to say
I have
the
to say
Lauri
that.
Coppock.
There
and
you go. Let me
everyone
finish.
should just know who that is. And of
By now.
course, our special guest, Rolando Villarreal.
There you go.
There you go.
That one wasn't
done it
spot
great.
on. No, that's the other white person in the room saying that. Okay, not that there's anything
Wrong with that. Thank you.
But I do want to say that it has been very informational and never going to be enough information in an hour period to find out. But I want to talk a little bit more about the financial services. We had talked about kind of fee-based systems that people use and what you guys use, and that's not always the biggest factor in things, because you've mentioned several times that it could be $500, it could be whatever it is. It's a plan, it's a path, and we kind of talked about length of time, and we said what's the realistic kind of things, and you've kind of left that door open. You said, look, it's about what you want to do and when, and that's the plan we have to put. Then we can determine if it's realistic. Am I getting that right?
All right.
And now I say, you know what? Here's $500 this week. Do I pay you like monthly, and then you take money out as part of your flat fee, and then the rest goes into something? How does this work?
Again, it's a case-by-case basis.
I feel like I'm money laundering.
All right, is that what you're
almost.
doing? No. $500 would be like our minimum fee. And, that would be something. Let's take, I'm going there, so I hope this doesn't cause a rant. But I look at the millennials,
Oh, wow.
myself, my
There you go.
generation.
Yes.
We went through 2008. We went through, through everything that happened there. We saw what happened with the stock markets. We were young. I was graduating high school in 2008, so it was very real to me. I went into economics thinking, man, what's going on with my country?
Right.
But it can be, let's say, a first-year teacher at a local school district. They may have student debt, so that $500 could look like, we're going to help you figure out which student loans you need to pay off first. We can help you with your open enrollment. I can remember my first job at the credit union when I had open enrollment, and they said, well, yeah, pick how you want your 401k to look. I was like, what? I don't even know what a 401k is. But just those little things, that's what a $500 relationship could look like. I'm not saying that's what it does look like, but those are some of the things that could be included in that
Right.
annual fee. If you want to come in and give us...
Well, here's the thing. Here's really why I'm asking. I think obviously the plans are going to be different, whether you're a millennial, you're someone our age.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Lump me together with that.
Yeah, there we go. I want to make sure that everybody knows it's never too late to have some kind of plan going, and for whatever those reasons may be, even if you're leaving your kids squat, it doesn't matter. Maybe it's a plan that you have. Maybe you do want to buy a second home or a vacation home. Can we do that in 10 years? Maybe they stop by and they talk about it. What's it going to take? I mean, obviously, if I could give you $500 a week for the next 10 years, I'd probably be able to afford that house.
Right.
Somewhere. That's obvious.
Right.
How are you making that money work for me? I'm giving you that money. How are you making that work for me? I mean, is it
Like, how is he investing it?
Yeah. How is it making more money for me, or is it just like putting it at a bank?
So let's use that 401k platform. Let's say you decide to not go with us. You think, I'm going to pick my own plan. And let's say you pick a plan that you had no idea, but it's an expensive plan.
Right.
It's going to offer you the same stuff. That's plan A. You picked it just because you know the name. It's recognizable, and you put that in there. And let's say that plan cost you $300 that year. Well, that's year one. The next year it could cost more. Well, what we have the ability to do is not just look at those plans options, but look at the prices that are involved with those plans. Plans have advisory fees. They have stuff inside them that isn't transparent to the naked eye. You got to be able to dive into that and kind of dissect each plan. You know,
Right.
it's not. They may all look.
But isn't that what I'm paying you for?
Yeah, it's exactly what you're paying
Okay,
for.
that's what I'm trying to get to.
Yes,
is-
the boring stuff, the stuff you don't
Yeah.
want to have to worry about. You're paying us for the peace of mind. You're paying us for, like Lauri said, to help. There's so many different avenues in the financial world, and you know, I learn something new every day, and I love it because I don't think I'll ever know everything. I know I'll never know everything.
Things change
but
every day with our
things change every
government
day.
rules and
Exactly.
guidelines.
So.
Right.
Our job is to stay on top of those things to make sure we're taking care of you, you're taken care of, your family's taken care of.
And do you do a weekly review of these? Maybe not each account, but do you on the things, the products
Yep.
that you put in? Do you do a weekly review and say, well, look, we've seen a big dip here and it's pretty consistent. Maybe we should go check all the accounts of everybody that we have that have this product.
Daily, I would say.
Daily.
It's not weekly because it
Okay.
changes daily.
Okay.
And we're fully aware of what all our clients are in. And
And then do I get a call saying, look,
Oh,
we're
yeah.
going to move this?
Well, it's not just that. It's the accessibility. You know, people watch TV and they see the market's down so many points today, and they
call you and flip out.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's okay. Call us. We don't want to just talk to you when everything's going well. We want to talk to you when something like 08, 09 happens. That's when it's almost like a lawyer. You know, there's stuff that happens when you need one, you'll go pay for one. Well, we want to have that relationship built that we're there through the good and the bad. We're there to celebrate with you when you buy a new house. We're there to help you if something unforeseen happens. So
Okay. And so what I'm getting is basically your firm isn't like, I can't call you and say, buy, sell. I mean, I wouldn't know how to do that anyway, but it always looks impressive on TV. But that's not what it is, right? You're more like, here's a plan, we're going to follow it, and we'll adjust as needed to hit your goal.
yeah, we're not,
Trust us.
Yeah.
Yeah, stock burgers.
No.
Yeah. Again, that's one of the
Yeah.
things. I mean, it's like, you know,
EFM.
my wife, you know, with this account that we started, even though I say it's a retirement account for me, it's really my wife's account. And so she, in the sense that she's the one controlling it all, and she's like, I still have to pick things, you know, and we still haven't done that. And I'm like, I don't know.
Tell
We're
her to
just
call
not
Rolando.
stock. We're just not stock people. Well, I've
don't
done
have to
good
be.
on my 401k with Chevron. I'm like, well, maybe. But anyway, yeah, we're going to have this conversation again. Maybe she's listening today, but I always hope she's not, because I always say something that'll get me in trouble to some degree. All right, folks, I want to thank my two lovely guests. Yes, the time has come. This always the
Wow.
last segment does really fly by. And so first, Rolando, just because you're our special guest here, how can listeners reach you?
So we have easiest ways to give us a call. You can give us a call at 832-632-5420. We're located in South Shore, right next to South Shore Harbor Hotel. So
If I get an
Easy to
account
get
with
to.
you, do you give me a room?
why not? No. There's no bribing. No bribing.
I guess I need to talk with Mike.
Oh, wow.
And then
Poor Mike.
we have a website. It's baainvest.com. Look it up. You can read more about the team. You can see where we're located and all our contact information, email, everything's there.
Okay. It's always good when everything's there. And Lauri?
Mine's easier. It's just lcoppock.com. Just go to my site.
And you want to find out-
LCOPPOCK.
No, I didn't mean to cut that off.
.com.
Let me repeat that. LCOPPOCK.com.
Very
that was
easy.
in stereo.
And all of
That's
my
catchy.
information's on there. So.
And of course, you can always look up
PrimeLending
as well if you're kind of curious
Go to our
about
Bring It
Prime
Home
Lending.
page, and
Yeah, there
all
you
my
go. It's
information's there as well.
All right, folks, another week has gone by. Another show has gone by. I really appreciate my guests being here. And next week, we will be doing a little giveaway in celebration of our 1-year anniversary with Vinyl Draft Radio. Talk to you then.
Bye.